Hey folks, Bernakevitch here with All Points Design. That's allpointsdesign.ca. But during this course, I'm going to be one of your primary graders, along with Neil Bertrando of RT Permaculture. And today, we just wanted to say hello and welcome and give you a couple of tips about how to do really well in the course. I'll let Neil say hello.
Hi everyone, my name is Neil Bertrando. I'm from Reno, Nevada, and I run a small consulting business, RT Permaculture, as Javan mentioned. And in this course, I am also a grader or a teacher's assistant to provide peer feedback and thoughtful responses on your assignments.
And while I have the benefit of having not worked construction all day, that's why Neil looks like he's worked construction all day. So you have to be kind, because I had time for this and didn't have to be working a jackhammer today, which was nice and not nice at the same time. I'm actually a bit envious of Neil, but we wanted to take a moment right at the beginning here. So this video is actually going to be about some tips and tricks about things that we've seen students do really well with the course. So we'll kind of bounce back and forth. I'll give a few, Neil will give a few. So one thing is definitely follow along week by week. If you do get behind, that's fine. It's not a big issue. You don't have to make a big fuss about it. You can just let us know what's going on. Know that if you're a couple of weeks late, we're going to reserve the right not to provide you feedback. We show up 100% to students who show up on time. If you guys have started to go by 2 or 3, now we're getting into a range where we're not going to be able to spend a lot of time because we're moving along with the rest of the class and the students as well. Also, if you are 4 or 5 weeks behind, really think about retaking the course next semester. It's only $100 extra, and it's not a big deal to take it over 2 semesters. It's really easy, and a lot of students who get into that position for whatever reason, there's no judgment, they do really well because they've had a chance to see the material. You still have access to it. You can take a look at it. So something to consider going forward. Neil?
Yeah, I want to reinforce that. If you get behind, keep working on the course and consider retaking it. You can look at all the videos and get more familiar with the assignments so that when you come back to them in the next semester, you're more prepared or have time to go do some research, or you can just take more time to work through them. And it's good to be able to pick a pace that works for your life and your schedule.
Great. Something else that I've noticed, especially in this course, is what has been laid out for you. The idea that you have to give two peer review feedbacks per week is really essential for you starting to connect with other people in the course. And the more you do that, the more you see other people's examples, the better off your designs are going to be. So take the time to interact with other people, take the time to comment on them. When you submit your assignments, both Neil and I will give you feedback. The students who do exceptionally well in this course read that feedback, respond to that feedback, and if we have put into the grading comments things that you'll need to improve upon to improve your mark, if you want to, you can resubmit. You can put in your revisions. The point here is to make you a better designer, to have better understandings of permaculture. This isn't an Olympic event. This isn't about going over the hurdle and having the top mark. You're not going to be good off the start. Neil wasn't, I wasn't, it's about learning. It's about becoming a better designer and having a better designer's mind. So really take advantage of the feedback you can get from Neil and I. And that starts with getting your assignments in on time. Neil, anything you wanted to say about that?
Yeah. In my perspective, it's unusual to get a design exactly right the first time. So being able to accept feedback and use it to thoughtfully improve your assignment, whether or not you get full marks or not, is a valuable skill as a designer, because it's better to get feedback from somebody that has some design experience and is looking at your design on paper before you build something. It's a lot more expensive and sometimes a lot more frustrating to get the feedback from the natural system or the built environment. So just take it from the perspective that we're here on your team and we're providing constructive criticism and or just suggestions and ideas, and roll with it, integrate it where you feel like it's appropriate. And if it doesn't match with what you're doing, we're not on the ground with you, so we can't see everything from a first person perspective either. So sometimes things might be a little off the mark that we say as well, and that's just the risk we take doing something remotely.
That's great points from Neil. Neil's an incredibly skilled designer, very adept at technical conversations, and he speaks from experience when he says, we don't know everything. We're working remotely, but if we do ask you a question, feel free to go back at us and say, there's this, this, and this on the ground. I don't know how what you're saying would apply. That'll start a conversation and will hopefully help to better the design, which brings up another really good point. At the end of this course, you may have a really good first draft, but that's about the extent of what we can expect from the course. If you think you're going to have the final finished polished design, your expectations are probably shot a little bit high. This is a course, it's an introductory course, it's a survey course, which means it's the first introduction to a lot of different topics. It's crouched in all of these assignments, and you're going to learn a lot through the assignments, but the first time you learned to tie your shoelaces, you weren't great. And if this is the first time of looking at a watershed, the first time looking at vegetative systems, the first time looking at composting toilets, you're not going to get it right on the first time. And you'll definitely want other eyes on this afterwards. And students have contracted us after the course to actually work with them as consultants, if it makes good sense and it's a good fit, or somebody regionally. And I really recommend that. Don't take this course as the end it all, be it all, coming down from up on high. It's definitely not that. It's a first survey, a first introduction, and you'll have a really good first draft, which is exceptional to start off with. Neil?
Yeah, that sounds wonderful to me. Yeah, and don't be afraid to try things. Like this is about learning. So, embrace the opportunity to try new things and be challenged and be willing to just put something out there. And if it's not exactly what you expected or we expected, that's okay. We'll talk about it and we'll work through ways to get it, to improve it. And it's just little by little, step by step, that things get better. Also, one of the things that I think is important to think about is just to remember that a big portion of this course, especially since it's remote, is learning to communicate graphically. So even if the design concept isn't necessarily really robust or strong, being able to communicate something clearly with a graphic display or something on the screen is a really powerful tool that you can use in a lot of different aspects of your life beyond the permaculture site design.
Another really great point. And we're going to show you a couple of examples in the next videos of different examples of using graphic standards, of communicating. We're going to show you some drawn examples. We're going to show you some computer generated examples. The point about what Neil's saying isn't you have to be an exceptional artist. That's not the case. You can communicate things very simply and very clearly without a lot of skill. You do need to learn some standards. You do need to learn a few things to make sure that you can relate to what we're looking at, but also so you can relate to potentially other trades, other crafts down the road. Because regenerative design, permaculture design, anti-fragile design is not mainstream, if you're working with a plumber, let's say in 2 or 3 years, you'll want to be able to communicate some of what you've coalesced about your design to them. And the clearer that can be on the page, the quicker, the easier, and usually the less expensive the conversation is when you start bringing in trade. So definitely something to consider. I only have one more point, and then Neil, if you want to think about anything else you want to add as I give this point, I'll hand it over to you. So my last point here is, within this course, you have an exceptional opportunity to get an incredible amount of feedback. I have taught coming up on 50 PDC courses. I've taught in person, I've taught online. This is the one course that you get the most amount of feedback on design. Most 2-week PDCs, part-time PDCs, you get feedback right at the end. You don't get it point by point, step by step, category by category. So take advantage of that. Get your assignments in on time. When we give you feedback, respond to that feedback, revise, get better. Don't worry about any, baggage that comes from post-secondary, secondary, or primary school of it has to be perfect on the first try. We know that's not the case in real life. It was silly conversations when we were in school, but here is a great opportunity to ask really dumb questions. We ask them all the time. We're going to ask dumb questions of you that you're going to think, my God, you guys have been doing this for a long time. Like, how do you not know this? It's only because we want to be totally clear with you. And it's the same thing we do with our clients. We ask a lot of very simple questions, be very clear, because the stakes at our level of interacting, or sometimes a quarter, a half, a full $1 million if there's a design decision that's wrong. So we ask a lot of questions, and we encourage you to do the same. Neil, any other tips, tricks, thoughts?
I want to second the importance of, it's not don't focus on getting it right the first time. What we want you to do is get something in so that we can start have a discussion about it. And the second thing that I want to reinforce is that one of the best ways to learn is to use repetition and do something over and over again. And that, as Javan mentioned, is one of the most powerful things about this course, is that you get the chance to do practice design, practice graphic representation, practice all these different things several times, both getting direct feedback on them as well as building through the course. So I really encourage you to use that opportunity to get multiple chances to practice, because at the end of 10 weeks, you'll have done something several times and you'll see a significant improvement. We see that in most students.
Awesome. Awesome advice. Neil, anything else you want to add to this video?
I just want to say that I'm really excited for this course, and I'm grateful for people being interested in permaculture and showing up and looking for a way to apply their passion to improve their lives and the world around them.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Folks, thanks so much for jumping into the course. We're really excited to be working with you. It'll be an incredibly immersive 10 weeks, and just get as much as you can out of it, because the more you show up, the more we show up. So thanks so much, and we'll see you in the next video.